number 13, we're talking about the Washington Wizards. This is a franchise that, oh my gosh, at one point there were a lot of high hopes. They made the Eastern Conference Finals the 1 year, right.
They made a run in the playoffs.
Yeah, they didn't make the Eastern Conference Finals. They made the semifinals.
Yeah,
got kicked out. But this was a solid team. Now you lose John Wall for the whole year. You still have your star in Bradley Beal, but other than that, there's not much around this team. I mean, we're talking about Ish Smith as your starting point guard. I hate Ish Smith. He's terrible. He was terrible for the process Sixers. He was terrible in Detroit, and he's going to be terrible in Washington. There's nothing about this team that excites me. You bring in like a Davis Bertans who fit in really well in San Antonio just because Pop knows how to get the best out of those real low-key players that nobody's ever heard of. Thomas Bryant is a nice player. They re-signed him in the offseason, picked up Admiral Schofield in the draft, and Isaiah Thomas is your number 2 point guard there. He's a huge defensive liability, hasn't been healthy in 2 years. This team is going nowhere fast.
No, they're going to be bad this year. It's going to be the Bradley Beal show, and we'll see really how good he is. I mean, this is a really, really bad Washington Wizards team. He's a really solid player. He'll probably be gone by the trade deadline, honestly. We'll see. He signed that mega deal, so he honestly might stay. But you mentioned Ish Smith. I like him a little bit. His game's okay, but I see where you're coming from. He's out there. He's not really going to do much there for you. I like Thomas Bryant in the middle there at center. He showed a lot of promise. But other than that, you really got nothing going here for you if you're the Washington Wizards. C.J. Miles, Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas really hasn't been that good since that crazy year in Boston, but since then has really just went downhill. This team's really going to be struggling with the injured John Wall, who's probably going to miss all of next year. So it's going to be very tough for Washington to compete in the Eastern Conference.
Well, recently the GM for Washington, who is new, he came out and said that they are not looking to trade their star player here at the deadline. They're not looking to move Beal at all. So we'll see what happens. I mean, GMs talk out of both sides of their face most of the time. I think maybe he's just trying to appease Bradley Beal here, try and have him stay around, and then possibly move him at the deadline here. It would make sense if this team is absolutely dead in the water. But as of now, they seem to have their sights set on Beal leading that team to really see what he has and to see if he can be that true alpha dog, that number 1.
Yeah, and he's going to have a great opportunity too with this Wizards team, man. I mean, you added some pieces there in the draft, but you just don't really have a good squad there. With John Wall being out, he's going to be the man, and we'll see if he is the man because we all know he can score the basketball, but let's see what else he can do on the defensive end and just be a leader for that Washington Wizards squad.